Welcome to this epic disaster where Cheri and Rick give you all of their knowledge and ask nothing in return.
I would like a few dollars.
What? How many dollars?
Whatever people want to donate.
No dollars. However, I will ask you to listen carefully to what I'm about to say.
Ooh, this should be interesting. Why?
How many ears does Captain Kirk have?
Uh-oh.
3.
Really?
The left ear, the right ear, and the final front ear.
Oh, that's just stupid.
No, it's not.
That's just stupid.
No, it's not.
Well, who said that?
It's Captain Kirk. He has the left ear and the right ear.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he has the final front ear.
And he's William Shatner.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. See, that's the kind of quality jokes that you get on this epic disaster. And I know you're going to want to stick around for more because there's just so many.
I have so many more.
And if you don't like them, what I suggest you do is grab a beer. Just the first beer you can find next to you, just grab it, and it'll help put you out of your misery. You know, people have been doing that, listening to the show for quite a while and been doing it, and successfully, I might add. We do have a thing, what we do on the show called the Live Beer Review, and that's what we're going to do right now. If you don't know what the Live Beer Review is when we get a beer that we've never drank on the show, we crack it open, and we drink it and tell you what we think of it. The reason we do that is because it's just a public service. It helps us to kind of tell you what good beers are out there.
We like to be helpful.
That is right.
Now, today we're trying PranQster with a Q.
What?
So it's PranQster, which you do not know how to pour. Jesus Christ.
I accidentally turned it up too high.
I think you went to 11 on that one.
Yeah.
So
that's about a 6-inch head right there.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not going to be able to drink it for a couple hours.
Nuh-uh. So this is by North Coast Brewing Company. They've been independent since 1988.
We just had something by North Coast. Where are they located? I can't remember now.
They are in Fort Bragg, California. I don't think we had any of their things.
No, we did. It was just like within the last month.
I don't remember.
I bet you $1 million gazillion fergillion dollars.
That's a lot of money.
I have it in my wallet right now.
Lies. Was I drunk?
You're always drunk.
Fuck you. Okay, so this particular brew is a Belgian-style golden ale. Again, the name of the beer is PranQster with a Q, and it has 7.6% alcohol by volume.
It's very cloudy, kind of honey color.
It's got some sediment.
Got little sea monkeys in it.
Yep, little sea monkeys.
And look, it's very fizzy.
It's very fizzy.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty,
what does
actually.
It smell like?
It's quite pretty.
It smells like an ale. It smells like a Belgian ale.
Yeah, it smells like a Belgian ale.
Don't put your nose all the way down in it.
I didn't. I had several inches between my nose and the top of the beer.
All I'm tasting is foam.
It's because you don't know how to pour a beer. So, all I'm tasting is, so far...
It's interesting.
Pretty good. We'll let you know at the end of the podcast. So stick around, listen to our foolishness between now and the end of the podcast, and then you'll know whether you should go out and buy this beer or not.
I will say that a lot of times we have beers on here, and they're different kind of beers, but you just sip one that like a Belgian ale. You'll sip, and it just tastes like every Belgian ale you've had. This tastes a little different.
Yes.
I feel like
it's already very distinct. In and of itself.
Yeah. Okay. I want to do a little round of Would You Rather, but I also want to talk about something. Let me talk about this first.
Okay. What do you got?
And then we'll do some Would You Rather.
Sure.
I want to tell you this, and then I'll kind of explain it after we do some Would You Rather. I had this huge revelation this week.
Okay.
This past week.
Is it like life affirming?
It's just life changing.
Okay.
In a way.
Uh-huh.
It's something I never knew before. Well, all I'm going to... I got to get into it in a few minutes. There's a lot more. It's complicated.
Just spit it out.
Let's do some Would You Rather, and then I'll do it. I'll talk about it.
Okay. So we've changed...
Let me say before I do it that what I'm going to talk about could be kind of graphic, sexually graphic.
So don't let your children listen to this particular episode.
If your kids are listening, cut them off. If you've got it on loudspeaker at work, which a lot of people do.
No, they don't.
You might want to turn. It's not safe for work.
It's too easy for them to hear a really loud fuck from Cheri.
Oh yeah, we don't want that.
For them to have this on speaker at work.
Well, let's do some Would You Rather right now. Well, you start this game here.
All right. Would you rather?
You tell me.
Okay. We're going to do the Zobmondo version of Would You Rather.
Okay.
I'm going to go first this week. So I'm going to drop a stone and you're going to ask me a question. And it's a blue stone, so my question should be of the blue variety.
That's one of my favorite names too, Blowstone. Appearance and embarrassment. Oh.
Okay.
As a woman, would you rather, as a woman,
I think I am,
be forced to wear a denim vest every day or open-toed sandals every day?
A denim vest. Absolutely. I don't have time to take care of my feet. I just don't.
Oh.
I'm not gonna put those nubs out there. I'm just
every
not.
day.
Nope. I mean, when I do take care of my feet, and when I do actually,
but a denim vest would get so old.
Let me rephrase
after
this.
A while.
When I do pay someone to take care of my feet, I show that shit off. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I don't want anybody to see that.
Well, if one day you're like, I've got this really great outfit I'm going to wear, and you can't because you got to have a freaking denim vest on it.
I'll make it work.
I don't think anybody can make a denim vest work.
I'll make it work. In the 80s, magic. In the 80s, I could make a denim vest work with anything.
I don't know. All right.
I had one.
All right. I trust you.
All right. It's your turn.
My turn.
What color? Oh, you got a blue one as well.
That's the first show we both dropped the same color.
Okay. So
that should be illegal.
Once again, appearance/embarrassment. Mm-hmm. Your question is, would you rather have one long, thick, furry...
I already do. I'm just telling you the truth.
I will attest to the fact that you do not.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Neither do you.
No.
Would you rather have one long, furry... sorry, start over. Have one long, thick, furry eyebrow across your entire forehead.
Uh-huh.
Or an inordinate amount of ear and nose hair that cannot be removed.
Wow.
We're talking about the hair on the face.
Wow. It doesn't say that the eyebrow can't be removed.
That's correct. It does not.
So I have to go with that. I would have to. It'd probably be like, you remember, the movie The Santa Claus?
Yes.
Where Tim Allen is, and he would like shave and then turn around and it was like
it was back.
That's probably what it would be.
Yep.
I'd like shave it and it's back there.
Yep.
I think I would still do that. No one wants the nose and ear hair that can never be removed. No one.
No one wants that.
And that happens when you get in probably like 40, 47, 48.
I mean, how do you handle it now on a regular basis?
You get in your 50s and you cut it and you clear it and do the work that you got to do.
Yeah.
And tomorrow it's back.
It's back.
It's just the Santa Claus.
See, all I have is this one hair that grows out of this flesh-colored mole on my face. And I say flesh-colored because it's not a different color than the rest of my face. It's just a bump that everybody thinks is a pimple, but it's been there for years and years and years and years and years. And it grows one whisker. One whisker.
We all wanted to know that.
And so I pluck it. I pluck said whisker. And then, like, within a week... all of a sudden, the whisker is back.
Imagine that 25 times in your nose and ear, and that's what it's like to be in your 50s.
Not. I'd really rather
to
not.
To be a man in your 50s. And losing hair on your head, too.
Well,
for some
you're
reason.
not.
Oh, yeah, I am. It's thinning out.
Okay, so it might be... okay, you're right. It
thins.
might be a little thinner. But what I love about your hair is that the top head hair, the hair on your head, it has like no signs of going gray.
No, I don't like that. I kind of, by now, I kind of want to be gray. I'll be white, gray, something like that.
Well, your beard is.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't match, though. The drapes don't match the mobile home. Something like that. What is that?
The drapes don't match the carpet.
Yeah, something like that.
And I tell people I have hardwood floors.
Okay.
Now, that's not always true because I'm lazy AF.
All right.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're so lazy.
Is that TMI?
You're so lazy that you're using abbreviations now.
Oh, God.
Is that what it is?
Is that too much information for those of you listening? Sorry.
Okay, well, that's Would You Rather.
So what is it you were going to get into then?
All right.
Let's move on.
I'm not sure how to go into this. Let me just say, I feel like I should preface this by saying I am deeply heterosexual. I am completely 100% without a doubt heterosexual.
You have made this comment on this podcast before.
So many times that I feel like someone can argue that I'm
not.
Yeah, that I protest too much. But I just want people to know that I am, and I feel like I am. But I realized something for the first time this past week. I totally would give my wife a blowjob.
If she had a penis.
And I've never, under any circumstance in my life, ever thought about that I would do that. In fact, that's like the most disgusting thing that I could think of doing. I wouldn't do it. And I'm talking about for me. Other people, fine, no problem. Mm-hmm. They want to do it. If they want to, you know, if they want to help me out, that's fine. I'm just saying, but I'm not going to do it. And I thought.
So if somebody wants to give you a blowjob, you're all about it.
I will consider the applications.
But if someone asks you for a blowjob,
all right. So you're
likely not to do it.
I won't. I'm not going to. I'm just not. I thought, like, growing up, you know, everybody, when you go through those sexuality things, you're just like, could I be gay? Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, well, what would make me gay? Well, part of it is I would have to put a penis in my mouth. And I would say, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'm not gay.
Therefore,
I feel like anything that involves me touching another person's peni.
And sometimes your own.
No, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to do it. I don't even want to be in the same room
with someone else's penis.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
Yeah. So the other day, my wife and I were out driving around, and I made some kind of comment about. I just said, "What would you do if I told you that I wanted to become a woman?" And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "What if I just said, I've got these feelings that I've had my whole life, and it's time now. I want to become a woman, and I want to have the surgery, and I want to be a woman, but I really want to stay with you." And I asked her, "Would you stay with me?" And she was like, "I don't know."
She said, "I don't know."
Yeah, we were both kind of having this revelation at the same time.
Okay.
And then she was like, "Well, what if I did it?" And I was just like, "Well, what do you mean?" She was like, "What if I decided I wanted to be a man, and I decided I was going to have surgery and be a man?" And then I was just like, "Oh, you mean you're going to have a penis?" No, I don't want to be with a dude. I don't want to be with a penis. But I suddenly realized, wait a minute. This would not be a totally different person.
Nope. Exact same person.
It would be
in love with.
It's the person I'm sitting across from right now. Mm-hmm. It's the same thoughts. It's the same personality. It's the same every single thing. The hands aren't going to change. The face is most likely not going to change. It's the same overall person. If anything, a few inches of extra flesh would be there.
I mean...
And how this person that I'm married to and been with and am madly in love with, how could I not give this person either a hand job or a blowjob? How could I not?
Why isn't it called a mouth job?
I don't know.
Okay.
It took me a long time to realize why it was called a blowjob. I don't know, but and it's
Why is it called a blowjob?
Because you're blowing them off.
You're not blowing into their penis.
Well, I would do that. That's why I shouldn't be doing it. I would be blowing them up.
There's no blowing.
Like a bicycle pump. I don't know.
Ouch.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It just suddenly dawned on me that I couldn't allow that one little thing to come in between me and someone that I'm madly in love with.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Though. If your wife chose to put her true form out to the world, which is that of a man, not that it is, but if that were the case, and you stayed with her, I'm sorry, him, and the two of you remained married and had a wonderful life, would you then call yourself gay?
We had that discussion. I told her,
Okay.
I was like, in some ways, the hardest realization there, not that I would I would have to mentally realize that I was going to have to pleasure this person in a different way. But not only was she going to finally become the man that she always wanted to be,
Right.
I was going to have to become the gay man that I never wanted to be.
Right.
And I would suddenly, through no change of my own, become a gay man.
Correct.
And what the heck? It's like I woke up and suddenly I'm gay. So I'm sitting here telling you right now,
Yes.
I'm totally
Open to that.
heterosexual.
I get that.
There's not a part of me that's gay.
Nope.
There's not. But then I have to say, under that circumstance, I would have to be a gay man. I wouldn't want to touch any. Well, here's the thing. Well, what if? I'm just going to throw out the situation.
All right.
What if this happens with my wife, and I do what I'm supposed to do. Let's
Sure.
say I have a hand job, what a blow job. I don't know, whatever goes on.
What?
And
some
then she
sort of
dies.
job.
And then she dies.
Yeah.
Not because of what
God.
what I did. I think I'm better than that. But
So.
let's just say some accident or something. And I'm at home and I'm just like, I kind of liked it.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to go out and start dating.
Uh-huh.
Am I a gay man now because of my wife? Or, see, there's so many weird things in here.
And what's happening in my mind right now is that no, there aren't that many weird things because guess what? This is my life.
It's not mine.
I have been bisexual as long as I've been a sexual being. I'm attracted to people. I'm attracted to chemistry. I'm not necessarily attracted to the fact that you identify as male or female as much as I am to the fact that I like you as a person. So for me, it kind of opens up a huge door. My dating pool is much larger than most. However, I will tell you this. My particular dating pool is very, very small at this point.
You're
Anyways,
no sexual.
I
You're
have
not bi.
zero. I'm pansexual, if you will. At
You're
this
only
point.
having sex with your pans.
With
at
myself.
home. Oh.
It's all me all day. Anyways, it wouldn't affect me, but someone like
No.
you who would never consider going out to meet a man.
Never. It's not something I'm interested in.
And now you've been with a man because your wife became a man.
Right. It makes me start thinking.
Right.
I just think they're so weird that you can put yourself into these little boxes of how you would never do this. You'd never, like, we talk about murder. I would never murder. I would never do that. I can't imagine a situation where I would murder.
I can.
Well, there are situations
Yeah.
that you could be put in where you would.
Yeah.
And that you would be like, holy crap, did I do that?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It's just, I never, ever have been in a situation where I let my mind think about this kind of scenario.
Uh-huh.
And I wouldn't have any problem doing it because, like I said, this is not a totally different person. It's the same person.
It's still her.
If my wife was in an accident and lost her arm,
Yeah.
would I still stay with her?
Of course.
She would have less of who she is now than if she became transgendered. She wouldn't have her arm. If she's transgendered, she would just gain
a penis.
A wang. Yeah.
Did you just call it a wang?
Well, I don't know what I'm trying to.
What do you call yours? Ralph.
King Edward.
King Edward the Fourth.
King Richard.
King Richard the Second.
I normally don't talk to it, so I don't call it anything.
What does your wife call it?
A bother.
No, really.
An
Does
imposition.
she have a pet name for it?
No.
Really?
We had this conversation one time where I told you that I've never been in a relationship where at least once the person didn't want to do a puppet show with
your
a
penis. Yes.
I don't think she's done that yet, but I don't think she's done it because she heard the episode. I'm sure it was in her little book of things that she was going to do with the penis.
You know what I like to do with the occasional penis?
I really don't know that I want to. But
I like to do the like the stick shift thing.
Oh. Like you're playing a video game?
Yeah,
like you're
no,
driving a car,
not the joystick, but
you're
the
racing,
definitely driving.
you're in your
yes,
BMW.
like yes, the six
Wow.
shift. Yeah.
Well, so
Sorry.
it just, I don't know. It started me thinking, and it was the first time that I never had this impulse of resistance to it. And I'm not sure that I want to go where it might lead, but I'm just saying I'm not interested in any other penis except hers and mine, and she doesn't have one yet, and hopefully she's not going to get one. I do
So
think
you would prefer she not?
right, but I do think it's on her Amazon wish list.
No one
saw
ever
that.
buys me anything from my Amazon wish list.
I think people forget about that. But I used to have, okay, so a few years ago, like right after you and I split up, I spent about a year dating, which I hadn't done in years. And a lot of the dating that I had was internet dating. I met my wife on the internet.
Yep.
But I had several dates. They were all quality dates. Everybody that I met, I liked.
Everybody?
Yeah. Almost every one of them led to a second date. One of my fears was that I would meet someone and then I really liked. And then, second date, we really hit it off. Maybe we sat in the back of the car, did a little make out,
Oh, wow. What is this, high school?
It could be.
Okay.
Like third date, things going well. Maybe
Second base, get a little boob action.
Maybe shirts came off. Who knows?
Right,
I don't know.
right.
And then by then you're really kind of hooked. And then, fourth date, you're in the bed. Everybody gets naked, and next thing you know,
Everybody. Wow.
two wangs are in there.
Why do you insist on using that word?
It's a cockfight, people.
It's-
All of a sudden, it's just like, wait, there should only be one. There's two. And you find out that the person that you started developing feelings for
Has a wang.
was either transgendered or in the
Process
of. Yeah, that was kind of a little fear that I had. It didn't happen, but I started thinking, even then I would think.
Don't you think that a quality person, somebody that you were enjoying your time with, that you connected with on a social, psychological level, don't you think a person of that nature might make it clear to you that they had a penis prior to actually just getting naked and showing you they had a penis? Wouldn't that be the adult thing to do?
It would, but I don't think people always do that. And there's so many like pressures, so many like sometimes people have STDs they don't want to talk about, and they'll sleep with someone without even telling them they have it because it's too embarrassing a conversation.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like I want to tell this person, but maybe I shouldn't. And that's what I thought. It's like, what if the big reveal was in the end? And then it's just like, okay, now face the feelings. What do?
Right.
You've already made out with them.
Right.
There's nothing else left to do. What if you really liked the person?
You're very attracted
Are
to
you
them.
suddenly not going to like them
You're
because
aroused by them.
they have a little extra thing down here? I don't know.
Because their genitalia is different?
Or the same.
Or the same?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so personally, I think that especially in the case of a male to female transgender person, I think that they are probably way more likely to tell you well in advance.
Who? Male?
A male to female. Because if they're with another man, let's just say that they are attracted to men. Because they're going male to female doesn't mean they're attracted to men. But let's say that this person that you're dating obviously likes men because they like you, and they're transitioning from male to female, but they have yet to have the surgery. I think that those types of people are much more likely to make that clear before they're in a situation where they are alone in a room with a man and then show that they have a penis, because that's just a safety thing.
I just think there's too much stress. I think the people are concerned about it, and they're like, what if I really like this person? What if it runs them off or whatever like that? I just think maybe they want to, and in the end they don't, and it just happens. Or what if it's the first date and they're going to tell, but yet things start getting heated and hot, and then they're like, now they're afraid, and then, the big reveal could happen on the first date.
That just doesn't sound like a comfortable first experience to me.
For anyone.
For anyone.
Right.
There's no reason why you should have doubts in your mind about telling someone the truth prior to having sex with them at all.
But you say there's no reason to, but people do. People are people. We're flawed.
No, I've been there.
We're
I've done
flawed.
it.
Yeah, we don't want to. Sure.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying that it just, in a perfect world, you wouldn't.
Which we're not.
Damn it.
It never happened to me, but I always thought about it. And I've always had that thought in my head. It's just like, what if it was somebody I really liked? And then what if it was, and here's a more difficult one. What if it was someone that was female and we had sex, and then they told me they used to be male?
Okay. What is that? Is that worse or better?
It's a thing.
Or how is it different?
It's a thing. Someone that used to be male.
But they're not anymore.
It doesn't matter.
They no longer have that piece of flesh
That's
that you've
what
been
I'm
talking
saying.
about.
I understand that.
They now have a perfectly yummy vagina, which you have been inside of.
But they may not. It's still a thing. It's still a psychological thing.
Okay, at this point, it's psychological.
Of course.
At this point, it's no longer a physical.
It's rarely a physical thing. It's almost always a psychological thing to get over. It's a social and psychological thing, because suddenly, if you're a heterosexual man and you have slept with someone who's, even if they're a woman, used to be a man, in your head you're thinking, does that mean I'm gay?
Well, I have a friend who was born. What's the term?
Baby.
Yeah, an infant, with the possibility of being either sex.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
What's that? Hermaphrodite? Is that?
That's what I was going for, but I don't want to use any.
I can't
kind of
remember.
Phrase.
I don't use that word enough, so I don't know.
My point is that as he was raised, he was raised incorrectly.
So someone made the decision.
The doctors and the parents, etc., made the decision to raise him as a girl.
Okay.
He's not a girl. He never has been. So, he's around my age. So we're talking mid-40s here. And about 10 years ago, he was able to correct what the doctors and the parents did to him, and fully come into his manhood, if you will. He was always very honest with friends, dates, everybody. Everybody knew. Once he realized you were within his circle of trust, he would be very honest with you. And I always wondered how do you date?
Yeah.
Because he was constantly dating.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't get a date,
He dated women though, right?
Yes.
See, I think women are...
He's heterosexual.
I think women are so much more enlightened about this than men are. I think if it was a man, he would get his ass kicked. Men, they're going to fight. They just can't. It's some kind of social conditioning. It's something, it's a question to your sexuality.
Yeah.
I can remember.
But if he were gay, if he were homosexual and he was attracted to men, then he'd be dating men at that point, and those men would understand, I would think, that he was a man. He was just raised incorrectly.
Yeah, but see, that's always my thing when people talk about, transgender or gay, and you're supposed to be who you're born, blah 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 blah. And I love that word, blah 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 blah. There are people who are born both. What do you do about them?
Yeah.
Where do they go to the bathroom? They're both genders.
Yes.
Who are you going to make that decision?
Yes.
What do you do?
This man had ovaries.
And both, everything.
Yep.
And so I'm just saying, those people exist too.
Yep.
And if your world is only black and white, you've excluded a lot of greens and reds and purples out of your world that exist. Whether you think they should or shouldn't, they're still there.
They do exist, and they do belong. They are created the way they are.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't say that this infant that just came out of this woman is wrong in any way, shape, or form.
It may not be what you think should be, but it exists. And that individual...
They exist.
That individual has to live in this world and deserves to live in this world in the way that they want to live in this world.
Correct.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, being an infant, being at the mercy of others, and not having a voice at that point, and not having the ability to understand what the question is, even that choices are made for them.
Right.
And I believe that to be an injustice.
I totally agree.
So okay, so let's say that you are in the process of changing your gender.
Well, I am.
Surging. Oh, okay.
I just decided.
Now you've just decided. Yeah. Now you're
convinced me.
You're not going to wait until your wife does it. You're just going to do it.
Yeah, well, so hey, I never thought about that.
Right.
What if I had surgery for a vag and she had a peen, and we
really?
stayed married?
Did you just say vag and peen?
Yeah, that was my favorite comedy group of the '60s.
Oh wow.
The vag and peen.
I much prefer vajayjay.
I know
if you're
that
going to go there.
I know there are couples who have done that.
Yeah.
Trans couples, and I've read of them. I don't know.
You don't know personally.
Personally, I know of no. I don't know any trans people personally
that you know of.
That I'm aware of. I mean, I'm not going to say that. Even I stop at that. All right. But yeah, I mean, that's okay. Let's say that.
All right. So let's say you're going to change your gender. And let's say your wife is not in the picture. I'm not going to say anything horrible happened to her because I don't like to wish things like that on people or even suggest that. Let's just say it never happened. But you're changing your gender and you're going out into the dating world. Okay. Now you've had the surgery. All right.
Right.
You're ready to go on a date. Yeah. When do you tell your date that you are transgender? Like, at what point? Like, okay, you said you met your wife on dating sites, right? Mm-hmm. So during that time before you actually met her, you chatted with lots of folks and you had some dates, right? So at what point did any of that kind of conversation come up? Like the idea of anything that might affect them sexually. When does that come up? Does it come up before you even meet? Does it come up, after the second date? Does it come up when you know that sex is imminent? When does that kind of a conversation happen?
I don't know, and I'll be honest with you. I just blanked out everything you just said in the past. For
fuck's sake,
3 minutes, and because my mind started going down this path, and it freaked me out. I was just like, if I was getting the surgery, let's say I wanted to be a woman, where would my desires be sexually?
Does it matter?
No, it does in this situation. Would I be interested in men? Am I interested in women? Or am I interested in both? But let's just say I want to have a change to be a woman. My current wish would be, or or attraction is to women. I'm
Yeah.
obviously married to a woman.
Right.
If I'm going to have a surgery to be a woman, would I still be attracted to women? Therefore, I'd be a lesbian.
Correct.
Do you feel like, and there's no possible way, obviously, we can get this scientifically confirmed, but do you feel like there's more tolerance in the LGBTQ community towards that? So if I was going to date a lesbian,
Right.
do you think there might be more tolerance to a lesbian in that community to a trans person than there would be in the hetero world?
There's
no way of knowing.
No, I know.
Because I started thinking that's where that's how I blanked out just now. It's just like, I feel like I would be more inclined to want to date from the pool of people who are used to being, what's the word? Marginalized.
Okay.
I just feel like maybe there's more tolerance. Maybe they're more understanding. Even if they don't want to date me, it might be easier to understand. But going back to your question, I feel like it's one of the first things you should let a person know
Before you get close, like
Yeah.
before you start to have feelings, like let's say, is this something that you should put out on your dating site? Or is this something you just kind of lead in with on your first date?
I met, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 people when I have been dating in my whole life who are bisexual, who told me, I think from first communication, that they were bisexual.
And was that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knowing that you could not be everything to that person.
I don't think that I looked at it that way at that time, but yeah.
Okay.
Just knowing,
And by the way, coming from a bisexual person, me, just because whomever I choose to be monogamous with is one or the other sex or gender, doesn't mean that they can't be everything to me.
Right.
There's a difference between being attracted to both sexes and being comfortable with both gender, or all genders, I should say, and being monogamous with one person.
I feel
So just because people might be afraid of dating a open sexually person like myself, who's attracted to all types, just because I am attracted, it doesn't mean I need all types. I can be monogamous to one human being.
It's the way you have to do anytime you're in a monogamous relationship. I feel like that you, if you're a single person, you may date people from other races.
Right.
You might date Asian women. You might date African women. You might date South American women. At some point, you have to settle on one person, and you're like, well, I'm not going to be able to date blonde-haired women anymore because
Right.
I'm in love with this person who
Redhead.
has dark hair,
Yeah.
or blue eyes, or a skinny girl, and I'm with this round person. Whoever you choose, whatever their gender, whatever their type of person they are, you are settling on this one person, and they will be everything to you. They can't be everything in the world to you.
Right. They can't be, but that doesn't mean that you're going out and looking for what they aren't. Because if you are, then you're just a cheater at that point.
Unless it's part of your relationship.
Unless that's a given. Unless in your relationship somewhere you have decided to have, these liberties.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
No, not at all. But that's a
If
hard.
my wife is listening to the podcast, that doesn't include you. I just want to say for the record.
That's a difficult road to go down.
But I understand it. I thought about it when we were together. I thought about it. It's just like I know what I feel like. Again, this is a graphic podcast.
No kids.
Yeah, I know what I feel like being around boobs. And if someone said, you know what, you can never be around boobs anymore. You have to be with a dude with hairy chest. I couldn't do that. So if someone who's bi, who's with a dude with a hairy chest, I know there's some point it's like, I just would like boobs for a little bit. So
I'm okay. I'm giggling because I'm sort of relating.
But I just feel like I could understand those little allowances in a relationship. I'm not saying that they're healthy. I don't even know if they are or not.
If they are the only way that those allowances are healthy is if they are pre-discussed.
Yeah.
And certain ground rules are placed and followed to a T.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a relationship before in which ground rules were set and not followed.
Right.
And I ended up on the butt end of that, if you will.
Right.
So I believe it's possible between, 2-3 mature people. It is possible. I do believe that. I've seen it happen. It's not happened to me yet.
Well, okay. So I answered your question. When I should tell someone, I think I should tell around the first date.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Well, I don't really.
You don't know.
I don't know.
You just asked. Whatever.
I do have a article here though that I'm going to read for you. It's actually kind of I won't say Dear Abby because I might have to pay somebody something. But
just doing an advice column.
It's an advice column, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in this advice column, this person writes to this doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and say who it is. It's
Sure.
Dr. Jen.
We stole it from the internet.
Yeah, it's totally off the internet.
Sure.
So they say, I'm a transgender woman, but most people don't assume so just from meeting me.
Hold on. I need to get terms down. Transgendered woman means that it's a woman, used to be male that's now female or female?
Yes.
Okay.
She's referring to herself as a woman.
She's a woman now.
Yes.
Okay.
So she's a transgender woman, meaning she used to be male.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm a
learning.
transgender woman, but most people don't assume so just from meeting me, and it's far from the most interesting or defining thing about me. I love that statement. Can I tell you how much I love that statement?
I'll tell you too, man. I always said I would know, but recently I've seen some people there's no way I would know.
No, what I love about that statement is that she's just flat out saying the fact that I'm transgender
Right.
isn't the most interesting thing about me.
I totally get that.
I happen to be a well-rounded human being.
Yep.
And guess what? My gender is not what it was when I was born. Move on.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so she says, when should I share this part of myself with the people I date? I'm not sure it's the first conversation I want to have right after shaking hands. So that's her question to this advice column.
It's important too. We haven't talked about this, but if you're dating some person who potentially wants to have kids,
Yeah,
that's something they need to know.
But then again, if you have none of this transgender stuff happening in your life, if you are fine in your gender, and you meet somebody, I mean, you don't talk about kids on the first date, do you?
I don't think so.
I mean,
Trying to remember what I.
That's not really a thing. It's not like, do you want kids? I don't. Okay.
Trying to remember what I talked about
Bye,
on my
Felicia.
first date.
That's not
with my wife. I think it was just like, stop trying to take off my pants.
that you did have to say that a lot. She's told me that she thought that's the only thing you knew how to say.
Yeah.
That for like a minute.
But we didn't talk about kids. Just how to make them. That's it.
So do you want to hear this advice columnist's
I am
answer?
dying to.
Okay. So Dr. Jen says, while your gender identity may not be all that interesting or new to you, keep in mind that many people have never met, much less dated, someone who is transgender.
Yeah.
We can thank brave trans celebs like Caitlyn Jenner, Laverne Cox, Chaz Bono, and Carmen Carrera, among others, for sharing their stories and educating the public about what it means to be trans. It has been estimated that 1.4 million people in the United States identify as transgender. 1.4 million people. So if you're on a dating website, guess what? You could very well be dating somebody who used to be a different gender.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But while that hardly makes you a unicorn, this is still a unique experience that not everyone who you encounter in your dating pool may be familiar with. There are two schools of thought about when to open up. One group believes that it is not your date's business. This is a very personal piece of information that you don't need to share until you want to, perhaps when you begin to feel a deeper connection. The other group believes that the sooner you share the info, the better. This allows you to weed out people who will not want to continue seeing you, potentially saving you some heartache. Whether it's their business or not, dating is about finding someone who wants what you want and makes you feel comfortable. So why not do what you can to ensure that outcome? One trans person countered this suggestion by pointing out that if you reveal this part of your identity before meeting someone, like on a dating app profile, you run the risk of them wanting to hook up with you as a sexual experiment. But then again, who is not at risk of a date just wanting to hook up? I mean, there's a lot into it. Anyways, okay. I myself, this is the advice columnist speaking, I myself fall into the share sooner rather than later camp. I am a big believer, regardless of gender identity, that it is important to choose people in your life who can appreciate all of who you are. If you do not reveal the truth of your life struggles, growth, pain, triumphs, and experiences, you can't attract someone who can appreciate you on a profound level. I was touched by the way one trans woman described her experience of dating in an op-ed for the British indie magazine Dazed. The quote is, "If you want to date someone, he should be willing to accept you as you are. Dating and being trans is hard enough without trying to be someone else." I mean, that goes for everybody, in my opinion. Anyways, she goes on to say, some people will open up before ever meeting. Others want to have a conversation face-to-face, say on a first date, yet others will wait until they determine whether they even really like the person they're sitting across the table from before going deep. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, that just seems unfair to me. Like, if I'm the one that has an issue that needs to be discussed, do I wait until I decide if I like you before I let you in on my life? Or do I give you the option to decide if you're okay with that first?
There's no solid answer. But when you're dating tons of different people, and all situations are different. There are some people, if they found out you were doing that, they would kill you. They're that crazy.
Yeah.
Some people, you'd be their best friend forever. They may not marry you. So I just think that I don't know that there's a right or wrong. I kind of like that idea. One date, don't tell them, because number one, what if you're on the date and the person is just like, I get a vibe from you that you might be transgender. Somebody might be able to tell.
Sure.
It might start it.
Sure.
What if you meet the person and they're disgusting and you couldn't care less? Why even reveal that to them?
Right.
Maybe they would actually use that information to try to hurt you or something. I just think, I don't know. I don't know. Because while you're reading that, I thought, what if I met someone and they told me through email before we met that they were trans, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not into that. And then what if they said, okay, you seem like a real cool person. What if we just go on a date that's not physical and just have fun for one date? I would probably do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you've already got a rapport with that person. If you just
thought the person was cool and you got along and you had, Yeah.
Why not?
I think I would make a friend. Why not make a friend? And you might change someone's mind. I don't mean sexually, but I mean just like you might open someone's mind for, what people are like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Isn't it weird when you start actually thinking? It hurts.
Isn't it weird when you actually start thinking?
It is. I mean, it's just like you tend to close so many. There's like so many things and opportunities and possibilities in my head. I'm like, nope, won't do that. Never do that. But then when you start thinking about things like why?
Why?
Wouldn't that make sense? Why? I don't know. I just like there are certain things. And two, I have to say, when I was younger, I probably was a lot more sexually threatened by things. Now, I don't need to be too concerned. As far as I know,
I'm set.
I'm set for the rest of my life. At least I'm hoping.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about it. But I was a theater major. I met people who were explorers in a lot of ways, and including sexually early on in my life. So I think I was exposed to some things that, if I was just a normal East Tennessee person,
so
I
what
might
you're
not.
saying is that theater majors aren't normal? Is that what you just said?
Oh, totally. I'm saying that. I'll say it to their face. and they'll agree with me.
It's true.
It's true. We're normal and abnormal, but the theater world is full of dysfunctional people, and that's what makes them interesting. But I'm just saying,
makes good theater.
Well, I'm just saying, especially at that time, and I think things are different now because at the time I was a theater person, homosexual and bisexual people or whatever didn't have a place that would include them.
Right.
And I feel like it was easier to come out to your friends at that point.
Sure.
Now, you know, anybody you could do it. But back then it was just kind of a secret. It's like my theater friends know. You know, I'm not going to tell everybody in the math group.
Right.
But, you know,
chess club doesn't need to know
we'll keep that secret.
That I'm begging George.
But we were all kind of, you know, dysfunctional mutts, and so we just share anything,
Sure.
you know. And I think it was a little haven for anybody that was exploring and learning and felt like an outcast in a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that idea in dating. Again, I don't have to do it, but I do feel like that it should be out very soon. In the same way that if you're like I'm never going to have kids. So like my wife told me that was her, you know, I knew that early on about her. She never wanted to have kids, and she said there were some people that she dated that it was over quickly when she said that because they wanted kids and she didn't. She was like, I'm never going to do that.
Yep.
So it's one of those things that, you know, I feel like you have to do, even if you don't feel like it's important to other people, and people like me who don't live in a world where you have to deal a lot with, and that doesn't sound right, but where you don't have to deal a lot with transgendered issues and people. It is something in your mind that you have to adjust. It is an adjustment. And this is kind of weird, but we were talking, you know, back in the old podcast about wearing kilts. Kilts is like old business to us.
Right.
But to some people, it might be the first time they've ever heard or seen a kilt on anyone.
True.
And they freak out when they see it.
It's odd to them.
Yeah.
It's different.
And to us, it's like a daily thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in that situation for the person. They, they think it's not that important, but you have to take into consideration what the other person is going to feel.
See, and while you're talking, I'm realizing something really horrible about myself, but I'm also realizing that in my dating experience, the fact that I never, ever, 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 ever wanted to have children didn't ever come out of my mouth because it was just a done thing for me.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't an important issue for me. So I never like sat down aside from somebody across the table at our first, second, third date and said, by the way, kids aren't happening if you and I hook up, right?
That's probably not a first date conversation.
No, I mean, but again,
there's subtle ways you can talk about it.
Never even dawned on me to make that clear to the person I was dating because I had already moved on from that in my life. Now, if they had brought it up, my answer would absolutely be, yeah, no, you know, and no, and then that's fine. But that would have made it clear to me that it was important to them. Whereas, and that's what happened with my first husband. Whereas if they never bring it up, I'm not going to bring it up either. And maybe they're just going to assume that I want kids because I'm female and apparently all females want kids. I don't know. It's a thing. So, you know, I mean,
well,
if you're so far past your transgender surgery to become who you are, and now you are just living as that person on a regular basis, and you are known as that new person, why would you say it like in the first, second, third day? Why, like you said, saying I don't want kids is not really a first date thing. Saying I was born a boy is not necessarily a first date thing, right?
Possibly.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
I just think that it's a situation by situation thing. It's just, you just have to kind of gauge it. But I do think it needs to be early. But, you know, like I was going to say, at the risk of sounding like someone's dad, I feel like that's what dating is for. You know, dating has got to the point, it's just like, who are we going to bonk the first time? It's like Tinder. It's just like, you're judging someone just on the looks because you're going to get naked and have sex. That's not a date. So have that separately. Dates, in my opinion, should be about getting to know who the person is that you might spend a lot of time with.
I agree.
So, okay, take your pants off on the second or third date, but spend a little bit of time talking about what you like, what your goals are, who you are as a person, what your values are, politically, what you think is important, financially, what you think is important. Because all of that, why, if you're having sex, especially if you get someone pregnant, but if you're having sex and you're getting emotionally involved, and then you realize that the person is a slime ball,
right?
You're carrying that the rest of your life. So I don't know. I just feel like, be a good person.
Hey, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
All right.
I just think always take into consideration. I think even if you are trans, you have to realize how important that might be to someone else. So share it. Let them know what's the worst that's going to happen. They're going to say no. Okay,
they're going to get up and walk away.
They would do that on the 10th date.
Go. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good riddance.
Yeah. Go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I agree. Now I tend to be a bit of an oversharer. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
We're all surprised,
aren't you? But but I will tell you my life story on my first date.
Oh.
But then again, what while I was reading and while you were talking, and the things that I realized is I've never actually dated ever, like in the real sense of the word. I have never dated.
I'm not sure I did until that 1 year when I dated a few people.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, dating used to be a thing where you could go have brunch with somebody, say thank you very much, talk to you soon, shake hands, give hug, kiss, whatever, walk away.
I can't do that.
And then have plans with someone else to go see a movie that night.
I have a lot of trouble with that.
I have no problem with that.
I do.
Now, that used to be dating. And the people that you were seeing, the person you had brunch with and the person you went to the movie with, would not have a problem. These are dates. We are dating.
But you date 5 people and you like them all, and all of them really like you. You got to say no to some people.
God, I have no idea what that feels like. Like zero. That's not even in my realm of possibility.
Okay, so we're a little fantasy here, but you have to, at some point, and this was the problem that I had, is you have to say no for stupid reasons, and it makes me feel bad. I don't like hurting people's feelings, but it's just like, I couldn't live with this person because of this dumb thing, but it's something that's important to me, and so I have,
eventually that dumb thing would become a big dumb thing.
Know, but it's like, they're a great person. I love hanging out with them, but I couldn't live with them. And so you got to say no, and it just hurts. I feel like I'm hurting them and I'm hurting me. I don't like dating. I'm so glad I don't have to do it anymore.
I just obviously avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
Either that.
No, you just don't. You won't avoid it. You want to do it.
I just don't know how. I just.
Before we shut down, I want to talk a little bit about this because I thought this was interesting. I wanted to look this up because I know nothing about sexual reassignment surgery, and really this show is not about endorsing any point of view or anything. It's just information.
Sure.
If you don't like it, don't believe it, whatever. Whatever. That doesn't have anything to do with us. This is just about what things are, and I found a lot of things interesting here because I don't know anything about it. Like I told you, I I have some very uneducated points of view about things because I don't know anybody transgender. I don't know a lot of the issues. It's not something that's that close to me, so I don't get exposed to it. So whenever I can learn some stuff, I'm open to it. How many people are transgendered? The Williams Institute, a think tank at the UCLA school dedicated to research on sexual orientation, law, and public policy, estimates that 700,000 Americans are transgender.
That's really not a big number when you consider how many Americans there are.
That to me just seems it seems like more than what I would have thought.
Okay.
Wow. But a good piece last year by 538.com notes that there's no national surveys, and if there were, there's no agreement on what transgender means, so that number could actually be even more.
So they aren't defining whether that means surgically altered or living as.
Yeah, I don't know what the definition is. I don't know. I don't know what the definition is.
Okay.
Sometimes
You don't have to. You're
I just
not
think
required.
Transgendered is just what the person wants, what they want.
Okay.
I follow somebody on social media who wants to be male sometime and female sometime.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand that.
Okay. I do, but okay.
Because then that means you're nothing. Anyway.
No, it means you're everything.
Okay. How many people have sex reassignment surgery? It's difficult to know. Encyclopedia of Surgery says the number of gender reassignment procedures conducted in the United States each year is estimated at between 100 and 500 people. That seems like almost nothing of people getting reassignment surgery.
It's a very small number.
Totally.
Yeah.
The number worldwide is estimated 2 to 5 times larger, which still 5 times 100 is 500. So you're still at 500. It seems so small. I can't believe that's true. One other researcher says there's many more. Marcy Bowers, a transgender obstetrician and gynecologist in Burlingame, California, who performs the surgery, says that she does about 200 herself a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
About 3/4 of them male to female. Yeah. Fred Ettner, a physician in Evanston, Illinois, who worked with people. Did I say Illinois?
You did.
Illinois.
You put an S
an
on
accident.
the end of Illinois.
Who works with people going through transition, estimates that only 25% of 30% of transgender people have any kind of surgery. I've heard that a lot of transgender people opt to not have the surgery, but still want to be transgender or still are transgender.
Correct. They live as if.
So to them, gender has nothing to do with the genitalia.
Correct. And that's true for a lot of people. Whether they have a penis or a vagina doesn't matter who they are, gender-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found this interesting. How does one begin the process of changing one's sex? I've always found this fascinating. All right. Under the standards of care adopted by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, which is WPATH, W-P-A-T-H, the first step usually is meeting with a mental health professional for diagnosis and psychotherapy, which is a great idea and a necessary idea, I think. A diagnosis of gender identity disorder or gender dysphoria and a letter of recommendation from the therapist allows a person to begin hormone therapy with a doctor. Mm-hmm. That is usually followed by a period of living publicly as a member of the opposite sex, and finally, surgery to alter the genitalia and other body parts. So it's a process. You don't just go, I'm going to be a dude, and then tomorrow you got a penis.
Right.
Wow. So it's a long process, too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do hormones do? Androgens are given to women to help them develop secondary male sex characteristics such as a beard and body hair. Ladies, you don't want that. I'm serious.
It's just more to deal with.
No
It
one wants
honestly,
that.
I mean, we have enough.
And you smell bad. Anyway, estrogen and anti-androgens are given to men to help change their musculature, skin, and fat distribution. I could use some of that right now, by the way.
Same.
All of which make them appear more feminine. Body hair also diminishes. See? There you go. No, you don't have to shave every day. But
who shaves every day? Is that a thing?
But Ettner says the hormone's most important contribution is to reduce the dysphoria transgender people have been struggling with all their lives. Mm-hmm. After a month or two, the bodies and brains begin aligning. Okay.
Get it?
I do get it. I don't know. I don't understand it, but I get it. It's very obvious to the individuals, Ettner says, added. Their brain finally is getting this hormone. They feel differently. They behave differently. I just don't understand how, if you've never had it, that you know what it feels like. So I don't know how that could be in alignment. I don't know. Does that make sense? The first effect is the brain effect, he says. All right. What is the real life experience, also known as the real life test? All right. Surgeons who follow the WPATH standards of care, which some patients and experts consider too strict, usually require the candidates for surgery to live for as long as a year in their preferred gender role. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem too strict. You've been in it for this far. They must work or go to school, do volunteer work, change their first names, and prove to the surgeon that people other than their therapists know they are successfully living this way.
I know someone in this stage right now.
But what that's saying is you can only be validated by other people, not you.
Exactly. And I think
weird.
it's crap.
Yeah. Okay, what happens during surgery? Male to female genital surgery is easier, I can imagine, less expensive, and generally more successful than female to male surgery.
Why?
Just the idea of generally more successful, I wouldn't want in any surgery. Oops. Sorry, that one didn't work. Yeah, you don't want a penis where someone describes that. Yeah. I have that. They've described mine that, and mine's real.
They've described yours as oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one reason why fewer women choose to have the surgery on their genitals. So more, okay. Another is cost. In male to female surgery, the testicles and most of the peni are removed and the urethra is cut shorter.
Those aren't the common names of those things.
Some of the skin is used to fashion a largely functional vagina.
Vagina?
A neoclitoris, which is my favorite term of the year.
Neoclitoris?
Yeah. That allows sensation can be created from parts of the penis.
It's true.
Men retain their prostates, which is weird. You can get prostate cancer and be a woman.
Yeah.
In female to male surgery, the breasticles, uterus, and ovaries are removed. These are all Latin terms, by the way.
Breasticles.
Yes.
Wow.
In two separate procedures. A neophallus, also a great term, can be constructed using tissue from the forearm.
Let's start a band called Neophallus.
Oh, there's a great joke I'm not going to bring out. Or other parts of the body that allow sexual sensation. An expensive procedure, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Extending the urethra to allow standing urination has proved to be perhaps the most difficult part of the process.
Well, how do you grow your urethra? Like, are there exercises?
Totally. I don't know. I mean, I get it.
do?
But I mean, I also think, why do you want to stand up? I'm okay with sitting down.
I'm fine.
Some
with
dudes
sitting
sit down when they potty.
Yeah,
I do.
Especially in the dark, so you don't
clean.
have to aim.
It's just,
you don't have to aim. Yeah.
And you can read. What other kinds of surgery are performed? Women wishing to live as men often have mastectomies. That's sad. It's really not, but just...
You just don't like the loss of any boob.
No, never.
Yeah.
It's a waste of good
They
boob.
should send those all to you.
I understand, but just the concept of mastectomies, that's a major surgery, and it's sad. Men transitioning to women can have plastic surgery to feminize their appearance. That's sexual. That's sexual there. Who's saying that's feminized? Including work on the eyes, nose, brows, chins, and hairlines. You're trying to feminize as you're trying to become an ideal of a feminine, not an actual feminine.
Okay.
I'll argue that.
I see that.
Till I die.
Yep.
They can also have their Adam's apple shaved down, which hurts like hell, I can imagine. So it's less prominent. Sounds expensive. Is it covered by insurance? Well,
Not likely.
Bowers and Aetna said a woman who chooses the full range of surgical procedures available would spend $75,000 or more to transition to a male.
Yeah.
It's easier to buy a Halloween costume.
It really is.
At Spirit.
But if we take it to that level, now we just sound heartless.
I know. And the penises always fall apart. Switching from male to female might cost in the $40,000 to $50,000 range. Some people have the work done. Here's the thing. That just shows how serious people are if they're going to spend $75,000.
It's important.
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't spend $75,000 if I had colon cancer. I mean, I'm sorry.
You would just die.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you.
I would smoke a lot more and have some bacon, which is cheaper. Some people have the work done in Thailand, which is well known for surgery and where the cost is much lower.
What I've heard about Thailand is that they not only are they very good at the surgery, they like to focus not only on the functionality, but the look and feel.
And they make a great peanut sauce. Oh, that's peanuts. I'm sorry. Insurance is just beginning.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you that was an accident.
Did you just say penis sauce?
I meant to say peanut sauce because of Thai food, and it came out peanut sauce.
Lies. You had that shit planned.
No.
Yes.
No, but I'm going to keep it in the podcast.
Okay.
Insurance is just beginning to cover some of the costs. Last year, Medicare lifted a 33-year-old ban on coverage for gender reassignment surgery, and the surgery was performed on a 74-year-old Army veteran. Wow.
Well, good for him. Her.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. It doesn't say.
It doesn't say whether
Could have
which
been a female.
direction they
Get me a penis right now.
Oh my god.
Do many people regret having the surgery? Well, anecdotal accounts of regret abound, but overall it appears to be rare. Bowers says that only 2 of 1,300 people she has operated on have wanted to go back to their old bodies.
Like you said, $75,000. If you aren't sure, you
keep your receipts, people.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the surgery is a miracle cure for the difficulties of gender dysphoria. That's sad. People who make the transition often lose spouses, families, friends, and jobs. What the fuck is going on with our society?
The scary thing is that when you were talking earlier about having to live as if for a year prior to even having the option to have surgery, do you know how many people lose their jobs during that year? Because
and family.
If I have a job already and I'm a man and I'm working at this job and suddenly I come to work and I'm living as if I'm a woman, it's very possible not only will I lose standing at work, but I will also possibly lose my job because people don't understand it. So now, during this year that I'm living as if, how the hell am I going to be able to afford surgery when I just lost my job?
Yeah.
It just, it's not fair. It doesn't make sense.
Johns Hopkins University, which in the 1960s was one of the first medical institutions to perform sex reassignment surgery, halted the practice when officials concluded that it was not helping the transgendered overall.
And which officials?
I don't even know what that means. I don't know. A 2011 study of 324 Swedish transsexuals.
Transsexual or transgender?
This is transsexuals.
Okay, that's different.
I'm just a Swedish transsexual.
Sounds like an ABBA song.
By the Karolinska Institute, showed that after sex reassignment, they have considerably higher risks for mortality. Wait, this is interesting. So, a study of 324 Swedish transsexuals by the Karolinska Institute showed that after they had sex reassignment surgery, they considerably had higher risks for mortality, suicidal behavior, and psychiatric morbidity than the general population.
So what that says to me is that some of those folks over in Sweden had transgender surgery to change their gender, but that's not what the problem was.
Our findings suggest that sex reassignment, although alleviating gender dysphoria, may not suffice as treatment for transsexualism, which I don't know what that is, and should inspire improved psychiatric and somatic care after sex reassignment for this patient group. But I also want to add in here, we just read that having this surgery will cause you to lose your family, friends, spouses, and jobs. Why wouldn't you want to kill yourself?
Thank you.
I mean, it's people still don't get it.
They just don't get it. There are so many unaccepting people on this planet.
I don't accept them. I mean,
what does that make you?
I'm not going to accept them anymore. I'm not going to accept the unacceptable. Well, it's sad. I think that I feel like a lot of people probably, not a lot of people, some people probably feel that will be the answer to all of their problems. You know, for so long, it's something you want to do.
Right.
It's your goal, and you do it. And I think it's so easy to put everything into that one thing that it's going to satisfy everything, and nothing does that.
Nothing will do that.
Men still have problems. Women still have problems. And if you're a man and you become a woman, you're still going to have problems.
It's like people who perhaps are living in poverty, and they think, if I win the lottery, my life is going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
It isn't.
It
always.
isn't. It's just money.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's just your gender. Now, while this is who you are and who you want to express yourself as, you're no longer going to be a man with problems. Now you're going to be a woman with problems.
But having said that, there are a lot of people that's just like, boom, that's the missing piece of the puzzle.
That's true.
My life is now where it should be, and I can move on. And they become functional human beings.
Yep. And you can also say that about the people who decide, or not decide, but the people who feel like they shouldn't have their left leg.
Are there people who don't want their left leg?
You didn't know that?
No.
They
just don't want it?
There's a group of people who have a feeling that they should not have one of their limbs.
Really?
And there are actually legal surgeries to have limbs amputated.
All right, that's a whole show. You got to bring some evidence in on that.
And then once those
that.
people have that limb amputated, they feel whole.
Or they feel a hole. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I don't know anything about that. You need to bring some information.
You don't know? You've never heard of this?
I don't think so.
All right, we'll talk about it later then.
We need to. Right now, we need to close down the podcast.
All right, let's do it.
We need to kind of wrap this festivities up. We've had so much fun.
It has been fun.
And we're so glad you hung out with us because we always have fun when you hang out with us, and we hope that you'll hang out with us again. What we're going to do
next
right
time,
now,
put some pants on.
You don't have to. We accept you with no pants.
I mean, okay, that's fine.
And if they're going to have to, you're going to have to.
Shit.
Let's talk about this beer brewski. The beer that we have. What was it? You told me what it was.
I got it right here. It's called PranQster.
PranQster with a Q.
Yep, with a Q. Made by North Coast Brewing Company out of California, Fort Bragg, California.
Uh-huh.
And it is basically just a Belgian, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What did I say it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
What you giving it?
It's kind of beautiful
Mm-hmm.
on a lot of levels. It's got an unusual taste to it. However, it's not a bad taste.
But it's not outstanding.
It's not outstanding.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I thought about 2.5, but it's okay. It's not my favorite beer in the world.
No, neither of us have finished it. And we did mention at the beginning. Well, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
But we did mention at the beginning that there was sediment in the bottom, or sediment in the bottle. So that is now in the bottom of our glass. And I'm curious, just for fun, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this.
Just down it all. While she's downing it all, people, I want to say thank you for showing up and listening to the podcast again. We always like to hear from you. You can send us email at thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. We're here to read your email. We'll read it online. I guarantee you.
Online?
Yeah. Well, this is online. We'll read it on the podcast.
There you go.
And maybe talk about it online.
There you go.
You can find us online, speaking of that, at Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Just go to Facebook, look up This Epic Disaster. We're there. We put stuff on there on a regular basis.
We do. I like my comic jokes.
I'm sure you do. We're also on Instagram. We try to be as active as we can on Instagram. We have a regular website, thisepicdisaster.com, thisepicdisaster.com, whatever I just said.
What did you just say?
We're also on YouTube. YouTube, you can listen to the entire episodes. We can.
Got a question for you.
What?
What do lawyers wear to court?
Oh, briefs. Who hasn't heard that one? I heard that when I was like second grade.
No, they wear lawsuits.
And briefs.
What do you call a fake noodle? Come on. For real?
Why would you call him that?
It's an impasta.
Oh, that's enough.
No, one more. Why did the robber take a bath?
Because he was dirty.
Because he wanted to make a clean getaway.
We will say really quick, we do have some extra stickers. If you want stickers, send us an email. Just say, hey, I want a sticker. And then you got to send us your mailing address. We're not going to sell it. We're not going to do anything with it. We will just mail you a sticker.
Or
two,
show up at
or
your
three.
door.
You know,
Which
we won't do that either.
Might happen.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, people, thanks for listening to us. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you again next week on This Epic Disaster. Mondays. Check us out. We'll be here.
Bye.
Bye.
This is a Violet Jester Media podcast.